Hey everybody, welcome to Geekdom Movies. I'm your host, George, with Fahad Shatsari
Yo!
and Shannon.
That's me.
And we are doing a review for Colors Out of Space.
Color Out of Space.
Color Out of Space.
That's
Sorry
same
about
thing.
that.
It really
But
doesn't
yeah,
matter.
It works. Honestly, well, we'll find out what their opinions are right now.
Oh
So,
my God,
we have
I'm-
questions.
Yeah, and
We
I
have
am.
big
mate,
questions.
We have questions and we saw the movie.
Yeah, that's true.
That's good.
So many questions.
So you saw it Saturday.
I saw it Saturday on a date.
I saw it this afternoon.
Oh my gosh. So
And
you're
so-
coming off fresh.
Yeah, yeah. This is
It's-
really on my mind.
How
I
do
would
we
say.
even begin to describe this movie to the audience who most likely has not seen it yet?
By going crazy. I don't know. But, well, how about George just ask us questions and we'll go from there. So George, what do you got for us? You're hosting today.
All right,
This is
so,
cool.
well, what did you guys think of the movie?
Okay, do you want to take this one or should I take this one first?
I think I'll start first because yours
Okay.
is going to be so much more interesting.
Oh, it's gonna be a dumpster fire.
I know.
of
We
amazingness.
have been chomping at the bit all day to get at this movie because I saw it on Saturday. I saw it on a date. He loved it. I thought it was super boring, and if I hadn't been on a date, this might have been the second movie I've ever walked out of. The first being the Dr. Seuss Lorax movie, which was horrible. So I wanted
Wait,
to.
what? You didn't like Lorax? That was
No,
a good
but for
movie.
different
I-
reasons than what you guys are thinking.
Oh,
Oh, really?
okay. Oh,
But
interesting.
that's another
Oh.
story for another day. So
I gotta know that story later.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, okay. Remind us in the comments if you want to hear that story. But
I watch Danny DeVito all day. I'm just telling you.
well, yeah, I do like Danny
Yeah.
DeVito. Anyway, so Color Out of Space. I saw it on a date. The guy that I was with loved it. This was only our second date, so I wasn't about to tell him. Sorry, Chad. I wasn't about to tell him that okay, I really, really hate this movie. I think it's
Well, he's
so,
about to watch
so
it now.
Stupid. But he's gonna find
Oh.
out now in this review.
Oh,
I'll
man.
warn him before he watches it.
We still love you, Chad.
Yeah.
We do.
You're a good guy. But this movie is it's so weird and bizarre and out there that it almost becomes a so bad it's good movie. Because you can watch this with a group of friends at a party and you could rip it apart and have a blast with it.
I think
Sometimes
it'll
you need
become a
that.
cult classic.
It might become a cult classic.
It might easily become a cult classic.
If
yeah.
they had changed, but it's right on that borderline. Okay, this isn't like The Room where nothing could have saved it. If they had changed just a few things about the framing device, it could have been really an interesting, good movie like Annihilation was.
Oh yeah.
But because of the way that they framed it, edited it, and directed it, they just completely turned this into an absolute joke with weird visuals that were creepy, not very nice to look at, and
Oh, the visuals were good. They're just not
they were.
not what you want them to be. Like
I
they're
don't
good.
give movies a lot of credit for having good visuals. It's
Yeah.
2020. We should have amazing visuals in every movie that uses
I mean,
CGI.
this is an indie film. This is not release wide
That's
at all.
true.
It's got Nicolas Cage in it.
Oh,
Yeah,
but-
Nicolas Cage makes movies straight to DVD and streaming now. You gotta remember.
Yeah, that's true.
Wow.
But he was a big name actor.
He
at
was,
the time.
right? But this movie is totally low budget. I think they made it for
Yeah.
20 million, which is pennies.
And it
compared to
feels like a
Hollywood.
TV movie.
Oh,
it feels like
100%.
something you should be watching at 3 o'clock in the morning
On
on
the
the
Sci-Fi
Sci-Fi
Channel.
Channel. Yes, exactly.
James. No,
And-
I got you.
And it kind of works as that kind of a movie. But seeing this in theaters, I was expecting so much more. The trailers looked interesting. I was expecting like a weird trippy ride like I got with Annihilation. And that's not what I got. I got like a hodgepodge of weird imagery that was not pretty. It was disgusting and creepy. And there was absolutely no plot to this movie. There was no main character. There was no motivation. There was no character growth. There was nothing. There was just a bunch of weird imagery. And the way that they put it together didn't work in a movie.
Yeah. So for me, I resonate with a lot of what Shannon said, and oh my gosh, like if this movie does not make it number one on the worst movie of 2020 next
Razzie
year,
Awards.
yeah, like I will be very shocked. Now I didn't see Cats. I've heard the similar things with Summer.
Oh,
It's like so
gosh.
out there, but I haven't seen Midsummer.
Midsummer is a masterpiece
Compared
compared,
to
to
this
this movie.
Okay, I can't say that because I
loved
haven't seen it,
Midsommar.
but
George
I do know.
loved
It
Midsummer.
was so trippy.
It's
Okay.
beautiful. I loved.
Well, that's good to
Midsommar.
know
Yes.
that Midsummer is not like this because that's what I was expecting from Midsummer
Cats
as
was
well.
a good movie compared to this movie.
That's
I'd rather
so
watch
sad.
Cats
Oh.
again than
Shoot,
watch
I watch
this movie
Doolittle again right now.
Oh,
Go
gosh.
back.
Did you watch Doolittle?
No.
Oh, I wish. I still need to watch it.
I might see it. But anyways, long story short, oh my god. I hated this movie so much. Like from the starting scene, the characters are so stupid. They make no sense. I had no idea where they were trying to do with a lot of the like setup. Like the father's cooking, but he's a terrible cook. But the wife's like all joking with Nicolas Cage, like, "Oh yeah, sorry, mom didn't cook, so I did. Like, why didn't you just order
And
pizza,
the daughter's
dude?"
a Wiccan, which never comes up again. And the son smokes weed, which never comes up again.
Okay, let me finish my
Like-
thought because you're gonna distract me. I want to just like get it through.
Okay,
Sorry.
alright.
So like for me, like the whole like how they were behaving and acting, like I hated every character. I wanted all of them to die. I wanted to burn that house down, and I hope none of them survived.
None of
I
them
hope
were
there was a
redeemable.
corpse that just said thank God, so this movie could end with their funeral like tombstone. I really didn't like this movie, and it's not even getting to the worst part. The worst part is what happens halfway into the movie, which is even grotesque and so disgusting, and just I'm so glad I looked away
It was
because
bad. It was
like I don't
gross.
get like I do not like feel like, oh, that's too violent or I can't watch that. I
No.
can usually get through all of that
Same,
stuff
same.
without having to feel like I'm being like, oh, that's too violent or that's too like, you know, like think of just like all these like Saving Private Ryan, just really violent movies. Like I can get through anything.
Oh, yeah.
And so this movie is just no holds bar, garbage dumpster fire. I have to say the worst part of this movie is just the visuals at the end. I have to say that Nicolas Cage, the boy who's whistling and talking to the darkness, I don't know what the hell he was doing. The girl is, like you were saying, a Wiccan who's just doing spells like every 10-15 minutes to like save her mom, save her family, save herself, pray to nature. I don't even know. The only redeeming factor I can say about this movie is the guy. This geologist,
Oh, yeah.
hydrologist, or some
And we don't even know,
bullshitologist.
well, I don't even know what his name was.
I don't know what his name was, but he was the only one likable.
Mhm.
And I won't go into spoilers with him, but like he did not have enough. It was kind of should have been focused on him. What they should have done, like Shannon was saying earlier, like he should have been the main guy
He should have been the main character.
who
He-
walked into this family who was going through just like these crazy things, and,
and
he started
investigating
investigating.
to find out why.
Because you want to leave your.
Family's
It's
going
like Jaws.
crazy.
You want to keep the audience guessing. You don't want to show the monster. Sixth
Yeah.
Sense. So like, there's so many movies that just kind of keep the monster.
Stranger Things.
Stranger Things. Like, there's a lot of like. That's where the mystery lies. That's how you make this movie. Now, the craziest thing is this movie's standing at 84% on Rotten Tomato.
I don't know how.
At least last time I checked it could have gone down. This was 2 days ago. And I understand it's a beloved H.P. Lovecraft like novel or I don't even know, some kind of book
It's a
or
book,
some
yeah.
kind of thing. And it was like I said, like I ignore these type of movies for a reason because they're just not my thing. And people were saying this is really scary. I would say it wasn't scary. I think it was just
It wasn't
disgusting.
Scary. It was just gross.
Yeah, like it was really gross. I don't recommend this. If you're watching this and you're like, oh, Nicolas Cage going crazy, the acting is bad, over the top, like grotesque, like weird scenes. If that's your jam and you love that stuff, as looks like people do, it's 84% on Rotten Tomatoes. Like, go for it. But I personally will never recommend this movie.
Yeah, if you liked Annihilation,
No, Annihilation is a masterpiece compared to this movie.
I was gonna say, if you liked Annihilation, go watch Annihilation again instead of watching this movie.
Oh yeah,
Because the reason we bring up Annihilation is because it's actually based on the source material, Color Out of Space, the book. So
Annihilation was?
Yeah, Annihilation was based on the source material.
That actually makes sense.
That makes a whole lot
Color
of
Out of
sense.
Space was based on. That's
Yeah.
why they have such similar
So
themes
why
and
did
plots.
they
So let me
Main
talk
Colorado's
about
main.
this for a second, because
a good
Annihilation did exactly what this book needed. I haven't read the book, but it did what it needed to be a good movie. In Annihilation, you have a main character. She doesn't know what's going on, but she's a normal human, and she starts to witness these crazy events, and she gets drawn into it.
Okay.
And she's investigating and finding
Okay.
out what's going on, and she's interesting, and you follow her story.
Uh-huh.
In this movie, you have the main investigator for 2 seconds, and then you don't see him again until the end of the movie. And you're following just this nonsense, crazy events that are happening, but
Right.
there's no plot to it. There's no sane person. There's no likable person. There's nobody to ground this movie. It's just all chaos and nonsense.
Right.
So you keep waiting for the plot to happen, and it
Yeah.
doesn't happen. They keep introducing plot threads that go nowhere.
Right.
And you're just disappointed by the entire movie.
Yeah.
Whereas Annihilation had a beginning, a middle, and an end. That's
Well,
what
this movie had
needed.
a beginning, middle, and it was just terrible.
Barely. Okay, let's think about all the plot threads they opened up.
Okay.
So they start with this guy who's a geologist, and he's investigating something.
Right.
That pretty much goes nowhere. Then they
And then he
start
just
with
leaves for 20
a
minutes. Right?
romance between him and the girl.
Which
That goes nowhere. Then they start with the girl being Wiccan. That goes nowhere. Then they start with the boy getting caught smoking weed. That goes nowhere. Then they get Nicolas Cage and his wife haven't had sex in 6 months because of her surgery. That goes nowhere. Then they have the son who has the problem. Didn't he have like a reading disability or something? And that goes nowhere. Like, and then they have the alpaca farm that they're trying to get put together, and that goes nowhere. Like, none of the plot threads.
The geologist
go
comes in,
anywhere.
and Nicolas Cage is just milking the.
Milking an alpaca.
And it's very weird.
Oh
It's
my
like
gosh.
it's the
He's like-
strangest.
He offers him a jar
Glass?
of fresh alpaca milk, and he says, "No, thank you. I'm allergic to lactose." And then Nicolas Cage is like, "It's a fine delicacy."
And he starts drinking it.
That sounds like what happened in
Star Wars?
Yeah, in Star Wars.
Oh,
I was
yeah,
just
the
Way
mouthing
worse
that.
here.
Oh
That
my
was way
gosh!
worse.
Wow.
Well, yeah. I can't. Okay. What do you think of our review, George?
So far, it's pretty interesting. It's been very colorful, to say the least. But I was wondering, what did you guys think about the acting, at least?
It was the worst acting you
Oh
could.
my gosh.
Okay, I'll give the
It was
guy,
pretty
the
bad.
geologist guy. He was pretty good.
He was good. The girl was terrible.
Everybody was terrible except for that guy.
Son was bad. The little
Nicolas
kid
Cage
was
is overacting. He just starts
I thought he
making
normally
out his
does
wife.
that.
Like there's a whole scene
bad. The
where
mom
they're just
was good,
No,
She was okay.
No, I can't say
but
that
she
either.
also had like 4 lines.
No, she didn't. She had plenty of lines.
As a
It was just terrible.
normal person, she had 4 lines. Okay.
In the trailer, there is a pile of goo. Somebody just melts into goo. So I mean,
Something like
that's not
that,
quite
yeah.
a spoiler.
But yeah, the mom's story she does have lines. She has more character stuff than anybody in that movie, I think, because of what happens to her, which I won't spoil, in the movie. And I did like what they were trying to do, but the execution is bad. There's another similar scene in
Very bad.
Annihilation that is just as, but it was terrifying in Annihilation.
Yeah.
Here it was just goofy and disgusting.
Yeah. Mhm.
So if you haven't seen Annihilation, you probably don't know what I'm talking about, but go see Annihilation instead of this one if you're thinking about going to see it. And Natalie Portman is so good in that movie too.
Oh, so
she
good.
kills it. Have you seen
So
Annihilation?
Yes.
Like,
Sadly.
sadly,
Yes.
If you
you didn't like it?
if-
I wasn't a huge fan, but
The ending was
there
so
were
good.
there were multiple reasons. I mean, like it was very innovative.
Yeah,
There were a
Yeah.
lot of cool like colors and like just visuals were
Yeah.
great.
but you would think that's a
the-
masterpiece compared to this movie.
Oh dear.
you would.
Oh dear.
If you
Because-
liked
And
it.
Annihilation is not for everyone. I saw it, I liked it, but even if I did a review
Yeah.
2 years ago for that movie and I was doing this, I would tell you not to go see it either because it's not.
It's not very it's not extremely interesting. Like lots of it just goes to dead ends.
I like
That's
deep.
what this
okay,
movie
so,
does.
So
It just
I
goes
like.
to dead ends.
Annihilation didn't do that. Annihilation to me was really good for one reason. It's this idea. Okay, we're going to spoilers starting now. In Annihilation, the thing that happens is we don't get to see the main monster till the very end. But then you think it's a threat. It's trying to attack you, but it's not. It's just trying to live.
Yeah.
It's alive, and it's like, I don't know how it got here. He doesn't even know it came from a meteoroid. It's just there. And the things it's trying to do with Natalie Portman's character, where it tries to copy her, it's just trying to figure out its world.
Mhm.
I like thought-provoking, I can watch 2001, A Space Odyssey. I like weird-ass science fiction.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
I mean, at the end of 2001 Space Odyssey, the guy goes through a wormhole, becomes a baby, then an old man, then becomes the baby of the universe, and none of it makes sense, but at least it's fascinating, interesting.
And this movie was not fascinating or interesting.
But
It was
Annihilation
just
was.
weird. Annihilation was.
Annihilation
That's
had a point of view that was like never been done before. I've never seen anything like
No.
that about the idea of this like government shutting down this whole area because of this meteorite that brings in like
Yeah.
alien life. That alien life isn't here to invade like other movies. It just started existing and it's just there. And this woman
And
is
it's
just trying to find her husband.
screwing up your DNA, and it's making things change
Yeah.
on the
And
planet.
if you remember the part where this deer and this girl just kind of like form into one
The
in
bear.
Annihilation, or the bear? Is it a bear?
The bear eats her, and then
Yeah.
they become
and-
one.
Yeah.
It like mimics the woman's voice, but it's also a bear.
Yeah.
Yeah,
really
that
freaky,
was
right?
creepy
Yeah.
as hell.
That's creepy. What this movie does is a crime.
It's
it
a
takes
crime.
the
It
mom
is.
runs towards this alien thing where the boy's about to get attacked and hugs him because this like energy, alien purple pink energy is coming at them, and they become one. And the boy is just attached to the mom, and they're both just making those same noises
Why
together.
does that sound like slightly like what was that one movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger? Total Recall.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That sounds like Total Recall with,
Yeah.
with the guy who has another person inside him.
Right, but this is
Like-
even worse because
Oh,
it's a
dear.
little boy who's now forming into one
With
thing
his
with his mom,
and
they're,
it's
like,
painful.
and it's very
And they
painful.
can't be in the sunlight.
And they're both just screaming for 20 minutes because
withering
they're
away,
in pain because
and
they just
begging for water.
they're
and
begging
it's
for water.
horrible
What
to
the
watch.
heck?
It's real
It
like
was
that's
Okay, this
terrifying.
does sound terrible. This
that's the
sounds so
point
terrible.
where everybody in my theater got up and left.
It was
Every single one, every
so
single person.
bad.
I don't. Do people actually
Oh my
stay through the
gosh.
movie in your theater?
Yeah.
Were you the, oh.
did.
I was about to
Really?
say, were you guys the
Because
only
the
ones in
theater-
there?
There was only 10 people in there.
Yeah, I mean we had
But
like 14 or 15 in
It was
ours.
Not
They
very
all were like, "This is messed." Like people just started getting up and leaving after that.
Yeah.
Which I don't blame them for. I would have too if I wasn't reviewing this movie because I don't want to keep seeing that image over and over again. He like Nicolas Cage comes in. He's trying to like kill the baby and the child now, but then he starts
Yeah.
making out with her, even though she's like a boy and a woman. It's really fucked
Oh
up.
my gosh.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
Oh, yeah,
it's-
that's so
it's
messed up.
yeah.
That is so messed up. Okay,
I
yeah,
could
that is-
not in any.
What on
Why did
earth?
Chad like this movie?
So
Sorry,
Nicolas
Chad.
Cage in it is like
Um,
an extremely twisted person who has a very horrible,
Oh my!
horrible.
I mean, I don't have.
Oh,
I don't think
God.
we can keep going talking about this movie.
Oh,
I think we
no.
come to a close. But what I will say is, it tried to do interesting things. Film is, objective. Some people can love a movie and somebody can hate it. Somebody can call Cats Oscar winner worthy because that's your opinion. I'm sure people will like this movie and that's their opinion. They have the right to like this movie. I cannot, in good conscience, say anyone in the world, like 95% of the population, would ever enjoy this movie or want to watch it again. In fact, I wish I could take those scenes with the mom and the boy and dump my head in bleach.
I love bad movies. I saw The Room in the same exact theater.
Oh yeah, Room, another great cult classic.
I saw The Room in the same theater that I saw this movie in. With the spoons and everything.
Well, now the Room is just a big joke, and it's not. I mean, when it first came out, it was supposed to be taken seriously. So think about that,
So maybe Annihilation will have some in-jokes and we'll
Well,
all
the
get spoons.
the reason
and
The
throw it at
Room is a
screen.
cult classic and people can watch it, there's nothing disgusting in there. It's just bad acting.
It's horrible.
Horrible plots.
plot acting.
It's not making
Yeah.
you grotesque. It's just like,
Right.
wow, this is a train wreck. What this movie is just nasty.
It's gross.
It's like nowhere. I've seen Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, which was one of the worst movies I ever sat through.
So another thing that this movie could have done better, Annihilation has some gross scenes, but it also has some really gorgeous, beautiful scenes to look
That's
at.
true.
Yeah.
And they started to do that with the flowers coming towards the boy out of the well.
I will say
that could have been great if they kept going with it and made it look pretty.
I will say that the last 20 minutes are really good.
They're better than the rest.
I mean, it's 90% terrible, but the last 20 minutes, I was like, wow, this is cool. I like what they did with him, and I would recommend it for the last 20 minutes if you could skip through the grotesque stuff.
So wait till it's out on DVD.
Yeah, so you could fast forward. Because
Yeah.
honestly, if the last 20 minutes was a short film, I would appreciate it. Because it is really good. It's like somebody came in, didn't know what they were doing, they didn't know how to make a movie, so they directed like 80% of this movie, and then they fired him or her, and then somebody else came in who didn't know what they were doing, and they filmed the last 20 minutes.
Yeah, it did
and
feel
it's good.
like that. It did
Wow.
feel like that, yeah.
And it was like a complete, like, I like the visuals, the vision the girl gives to the geologist guy and what, like, is happening. That was really cool. I liked how the planet and this area was, like, turning into this alien world, and, like, what was going on with the family, and they came back, and that's what I gotta say is, like, that's why I like 2001: A Space Odyssey. It doesn't make sense, but it's interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Like where the guy is falling through a wormhole for like 10 minutes, and then he sees himself in a room where he's an old man, and then he turns into a baby who's floating through space. It's interesting. Like it's
or Interstellar or Inception or any of these movies that have really cool visuals.
I wouldn't put Inception in there, but I would put Interstellar. Interstellar was definitely like 2001: A Space Odyssey compared to today's way, so I'll give you that. But it doesn't make sense. Like Inception and 2001: Space Odyssey is just really weird, strange sci-fi, but it's really good because it's showing you things and giving you ideas and perspectives how time and space work. That's not very normal.
Yeah.
And I like that stuff. And
I
that's
love
what this
that
movie
kind of
does
stuff.
for the last 20 minutes, which is absolutely brilliant. Like, I was floored by the last 20 minutes because of how good that scene, like that scene, I guess what the critics are saying the last 20 minutes is great, which I agree, but I'm not going to give this a fresh movie because the rest of the movie is garbage, like dumpster fire. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I would rate this movie. Rent it, watch it, skip
Skip the middle. Yeah.
Even the beginning bad acting, you can handle it. You can skip all that. I would say when the man, the geologist guy learns what's going on, and they open the truck and the sheriff shows him what happened, he drives into the movie. That's how the movie should have started. That movie should have started with,
Yeah.
this is what's happening.
Yep, exactly.
We need to go investigate. And the 1.5 hours should have him and the
And
sheriff.
figuring out why this family's going insane.
Yeah, and like, you didn't need to see the boy and the wife become one alien thing. It could have just been there in the background, and he just kind of sees it for like a minute, and then just goes
Yeah.
like, "Whoa, this is crazy." Or like Nicolas Cage tells what he did to his wife and son because of what happened. Now that would have been interesting. That would have been a good movie because it's from the perspective of an investigator learning about these things.
More like
but it's not
Knives
a
Out.
focus. I'm not watching 45 minutes of a boy and a mom who are fusing into one and losing their minds, and they're just dying horribly.
Yeah, it was
Yeah. So, again, I think if this movie was straight to DVD and streaming, I would recommend it and just tell you to skip the parts. That's the only way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree.
So 0 out of 10 for me. 1 out of 10 because I like the last 20 minutes.
I'll give it a 3 out of 10 because at least it gave me some cool visuals.
There you go. That's our review for one of the worst movies we've ever watched. If you stuck through this weird review, go check it out. Go see Birds of Prey next, which is getting great reviews. I've been watching all the interviews with Margot Robbie, and she's the producer and writer, and
That's awesome.
she's the producer. Yeah,
She didn't produce or write the first one, did she?
of course not.
Okay.
She wasn't that famous yet.
But
to have
she
the money
did
to do it.
produce and write I,
Tonya was
which
her first.
my favorite movie of all time.
Yeah, I think Margot Robbie, as good of an actress she is, I think her passion should be directing and producing
She's
because
phenomenal.
she's better at that than her acting is good. I don't hate her acting, but I think she's a better producer and director and filmmaker than she is an actor. But we'll see what happens. We haven't seen Birds of Prey. Check out the interviews with Margot Robbie and how she locked herself in a room and read through all the Harley Quinn novels and Birds of Prey novels to make this movie and how good it's supposed to be.
Good for her. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So check out our review. We're seeing it Thursday. We'll be flying through a blizzard to see Birds of Prey on Thursday, but it's going to be worth it. We'll We'll drive 20 miles per hour to the movie theater in Dolby, but we'll see it somehow. Unless it's way worse than that and we can't get out of our subdivisions and apartment complexes, then maybe not. But yeah, check out that review. Take care, guys. Bye.
Check out our
Bye.
Patreon page also, and like, subscribe, comment if you can.
Share on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all your socials.
Beep.